My friends, the Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke. Glory to you, O Lord. Jesus entered a village where a woman whose name was Martha welcomed him. She had a sister named Mary who sat beside the Lord at his feet, listening to him speak. Martha, burdened with much serving, came to him and said, "Lord, do you not care that my sister has left me by myself to do the serving? Tell her to help me." The Lord said to her in reply, "Martha, Martha, you are anxious and worried about many things. There is need of only one thing. Mary has chosen the better part, and it will not be taken from her." The Gospel of the Lord. Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ. Good morning again. For those of you expecting Father Dedish this morning, I apologize. We had to switch the Mass schedule this morning because he had a Pokemon Go convention at 9 a.m. downtown. So, sorry, you're stuck with me. Speaking of Pokemon Go, whatever this game is, if I see you playing with it in the church, well, never mind. There's been a lot said about this since last Sunday. And there's been a lot of good and perhaps even some negative that has come from this. But one of the good things was, this has been highlighted a lot in our media in the last couple of days, is that Pokemon Go is helping the millennial generation to come back to church. Because apparently our houses of worship and our synagogues are places where these lures, L-U-R-E-S, are for you to get your little Pokemon creature. I am part of that generation. I have not played Pokemon in my life, and I probably will not start even with this game. But one of the other negative things of this whole rant or rave or temporary moment in our culture is that there are some negative things happening, such as the Huffington Post reporting this morning that yesterday in Connecticut, there was a group of teenagers who came upon this probably mentally ill woman who happened to be naked, vandalizing the Blessed Virgin Mary statue in a Catholic church in Connecticut. So, good and bad. But one of the other articles that I read regarding this Pokemon Go journey is that the app creators are making our houses of worships places that are called, and I quote, charging areas. In other words, where you can go and get recharged so that you can continue playing the game and getting your little Pokemon creatures and then hopefully win the game in your area. It's a great analogy for us this morning. We are here to be recharged, to be refreshed in our Lord. All through our weekend's readings, we hear about how we are called to be recharged and refreshed. But particularly in this morning's gospel passage that is familiar to many of us. We hear that Jesus is with his friends having dinner. But we hear that Mary is sitting at the feet of Jesus. Mary is there to be recharged, to be refreshed by her Lord, who is a very close friend of her family. And we hear that this is the only thing that Mary needed to do. As a matter of fact, Jesus himself said in this morning's gospel, there is need of only one thing. And that one thing is to become refreshed and recharged in his mercy. And how we become refreshed and recharged in him is we are called to do two things. We are called to listen, and we are called to sit at his feet. How we are recharged is by listening to his word through prayer, but then sitting at his feet to let our actions match what we hear. We must listen before we act. How many times in our own lives are we both reminded by that, by when we put our feet in our mouths, but also by the instruction manuals that we always see? It says, read completely before using, or read completely before acting, or read completely before, because we have to know what we are getting into before we act. We must listen before we act. We must listen and sit at the feet of Jesus by our actions. There is no service that we can give on this side of heaven that earns Jesus' love and mercy. Not a single thing. Because it's always freely given, without a cost, without a charge. Even though it is freely given, we are called to freely receive. Receive His mercy, receive His strength, receive His peace, so that then we can give it. We can give it to all that we meet. And so we are called then to ponder the same question that Jesus reminds us of in this morning's gospel. What is the one need that we all have this morning? What do we need from Him? And we can only answer that question if we go back to the second reading and listen to the words of St. Paul, when he reminds us that it is Christ in us, the hope of glory. In other words, why we are here to be recharged and refreshed, and why we come to the Lord each and every Sunday, is to continue to renew our hope in Him, to find our hope not in ourselves, not in this world, but in the one who is with us in each and every moment, in the moments of struggles, in the moments of sadness, in the moments of blessings, that He is here to give us that hope. But what He reminds us is we have to listen. We have to listen to hear where He is calling us to receive that hope and then act upon it in our daily life. Once again, how we are called to do that is to listen to His word through prayer and to sit at His feet through action. Sit at His feet and listen. A simple task, right? But it takes a lifetime to learn. I leave you this morning with the image of Mother Teresa, a very familiar image and a very familiar person to many of us. She went about her daily life putting these words into action, of spending at least an hour a day with our Lord, at least 1 hour, with Him in the Blessed Sacrament, and then going out and serve the poor of Calcutta. But what many people do not know is that in the last 16 to 20 years of her life, she spent it in what's called a dark night, is what she called it, where she felt so distant from the Lord. Many of us can equate to that in our own lives this morning. We feel that dark night. We feel that hopelessness. But we too are called to come to the Lord, to spend time with Him, to listen, to let our actions mirror that listening, and then no matter what, to see the hope that He offers. Listen, sit at the feet of Jesus, and then we have the understanding of all the saints and angels, the understanding of all the disciples who have come before us, so that we can be that saint and disciple that we are called to be today, right now.